have a lot to cover this afternoon. Let's see. So yeah, people can start. I know some of you already did this, but go ahead and share in the chat your names, your pronouns, your location, and also your favorite video game. People can just be sharing that in the chat as we're going along. I think most of you at this point probably know about probably know about Code the Dream, and hopefully we're all here for the same reasons, to learn together and help make a difference in our own lives and the lives of our communities, and changing the way the tech industry looks. Great. All right. Let's see. Lydia, I think we can, actually we can just wait to record, I think.
Oh, I started that.
So oh, that's fine, no problem. No problem. Yeah, let's see. Yeah, this is just a little overview. We actually have quite a bit to cover. I'm gonna go back for a sec, just so you know what we're gonna do today. We are going to take some time to get to know each other, because community is a really big part of Code the Dream. A lot of you have already met me. I'm Lori Fernald-Kamala. I'm the program director at Code the Dream. I've got my colleagues here, Lydia Gilmer and Alex Rodriguez, who are all part of this great Code the Dream team that helps plan the classes. And community is a really big part of our whole philosophy. So we're going to definitely spend a little bit of time just to start to get to know each other. Then we're going to go really more in depth into the logistics of the class and what we are calling mask off, which is the different aspects of Code the Dream classes. That's material instruction like videos, assignments, mentor sessions, our community support, and the final projects. Then we're going to review all of the different tools that you're going to need to be successful in the class, and what that flow is that you'll be going through each week. We'll have plenty of time for discussions and questions, and then get back into some small groups to think about how you yourself are going to be successful in the class. Yeah. So before we do anything else, let's go ahead and get into some breakout rooms. Lydia, can you tell how, as you all know, you have now made it through the application stage and you are officially students. Let me make this big. Okay. Yeah, so now we're in the class portion. In the class portion, there are 5 different elements to our class, which we're going to be going through in more depth. Our instructional materials, which includes our videos, assignments, our mentor sessions, our community support, and our final projects. After this Ruby on Rails class, if you complete everything that you need to complete and finish your final project and present it, you will have the opportunity to apply for the apprenticeship. It is very competitive, but we really encourage you to move through that process. Sometimes we have more slots available for the apprenticeship. It really just depends on our funding and our current, we're doing currently in our projects, and what's, yeah, it just depends on a lot of different things. In a recent class, we were able to take as many as 8 apprentices. So it just sort of depends. And then of course, all along the way, you can be looking for a job. We went over some of this previously, but I just want to emphasize again that Code the Dream is only possible because people make donations to our program. As you all probably know, most coding boot camps cost at least $10,000 or even $20,000. while our program is completely free. So we do want to really encourage you to even start thinking about now how you might be able to give back to Code the Dream at the end to make this program possible for more students. Everyone who donates is able to help make that possible. So we really want you to think about that as well. We just want to get that in there from the beginning. Okay, so what do our classes look like? So between, as you all know, we had two classes starting around the same time. You all are COI, our Ruby on Rails class, and then we have an Intro to Programming class starting in 2 weeks. There are, I think there's actually 33 students now, COI students. There are 44 Eclipse students. 75% of this group were born in other countries, and actually from 24 different countries are represented. 70% of the students are people of color. 53% are women or non-binary who don't necessarily identify as male or female. And 87% come from low income or low resourced backgrounds. I think these are really important statistics because this is not what tech looks like now. And we are changing the face of tech. So this is, it really contrasts with what tech looks like now. A few years ago, I think Google did a study among its own employees and found that there was only about 2% of its employees that were Black or Hispanic. So our numbers are really different, and we want that, and we want to help change this whole industry. And as we are moving along in the class, we want everyone in our community to think about how we can each be more inclusive and accessible and open and encouraging to really embracing the kind of diversity that we want. All right, now, expectation of students. So we're going to get into more detail of lots of different elements here. But in general, you are going to need, as you know, when we laid out some of these elements previously, but you're going to need what, at least 10 hours, if not 20 hours per week to really spend on coding to be successful in the class. You all already have some experience with coding. Every person in this class already has some experience. So you know that this requires quiet space where you can really intensely concentrate. You need to attend at least 2 mentor sessions per week, and we're going to talk more about what that entails. There's going to be regular conversations within the Slack channel, possibly in other platforms as well. You're going to have assignments every week. Each of those assignments build on each other, and it moves quickly. That's why we really need you to make a really strong commitment up front so that you are really ready. And I will say to Katerina students, this is going to be a little more intense than the Katerina work was probably. And it'll be very interesting for students who were like in Nick's cohort. That was when Code the Dream classes were still in person. So it'll be really interesting to see how this experience compares to that past experience of Code the Dream classes. Because lessons do build on each other and move quickly, when somebody falls behind, it's really hard to catch up. So it's very important to try to keep up and keep on top of your work every single week. Always asking questions and helping each other, because we are really trying to build a community here where we can ask each other questions and really support each other. Moving on to future classes and or the internship depends on these kind of key elements. Your participation throughout the class and all of the variety of ways that you have opportunities to interact, your coding ability, your dedication and stick-to-itiveness. The final projects really count for a lot. So that's something, and we want people to start thinking about that a little earlier than in some of our previous classes, because the final projects really count for a lot. And as I mentioned, in terms of the apprenticeship, it really also depends on the funding and the number of spots available and where we're at in our various projects. All right. Now, these are the different elements of the class, and we're going to go into them, each one in more depth. We're just using this little word here, mask off, and you can read all about it at learn.codethedream.org, which is our class website. I'm going to say that about 100 more times today, /maskoff. All right, we'll just go right on. Okay, in terms of our instructional materials, now those of you who have already been in a Code the Dream class already know this, but those of you who are new, we partner with a company called Treehouse, and they create videos, instructional videos on coding that we choose from that we want. All of the lessons are outlined on the website, learn.codethedream.org, and it's laid out each week what your tasks will be and which videos you have to watch. Usually you have to watch several hours worth of videos each week, and you can do that on your own time. So you don't have to watch the videos with others, though you could, but just whenever you want to. It's usually, like I mentioned, usually a few hours worth of videos. You want to be coding alongside those videos, taking notes. The great thing about having these asynchronous videos is that you can pause it, you can stop it, you can rewind it, you can rewatch it. That's one of the benefits of having these asynchronous videos instead of being in a class. Of course, there are benefits to being in person, but some of the benefits to not being in a face-to-face class are that you don't have the ability to rewind and rewatch and also have subtitles, which can be helpful if English is not your first language. When you're watching these videos, go ahead and start making a list of questions. These are questions that you'll be able to ask in the Slack channel or in your mentor sessions. So that's the video component. That's sort of the first thing that you'll be doing each week. All right, then come your assignments. You will have coding assignments each week. These assignments are submitted through GitHub. I'm pretty sure that most of you now either use GitHub or are familiar with how to do this from our previous classes, or hopefully you saw the link that I sent out in a previous email that that gives you a little summary of how to do this. Your assignments are the most important thing in your tasks of the week, but they really can't be done without understanding the materials that are provided through the videos and other things. We want you to make sure that you are checking to see if your code runs in advance. And I'm going to show you how to submit your assignments. You do the assignment and you push it to GitHub. And then you're going to do a pull request for that. But then you are actually going to use a Slack bot from within the Slack channel called Squibby that actually notifies us that your assignment is posted. If you don't do that part, we won't know that you have actually worked on your assignment. Our week runs from Wednesday to Wednesday. And so assignments are due Tuesday by midnight. But we want, even if it is late, we do still want you to submit it. It's definitely better late than never. And we are having a session to review how exactly to submit the assignments tomorrow evening, which John McGarvey, our volunteer, will be leading. We ask that you be patient with the reviewers who are going to be reviewing your assignments, because we're trying to get on a new schedule of how we do that. So just it's most important that you check that your assignment, that it can run when you're submitting it. And I'm going to go over these things. I realize it's a ton of information. I'm also going to tell you where you can, I'm going to give you these slides so that you can find them. And we're also going to be able to have a discussion about it and have questions. The mentor sessions are when we hear from students, we hear that people's favorite part about Code the Dream classes are the mentors and the mentor sessions. The mentor sessions are live via Zoom, chances for small groups to get together with a professional software developer or sometimes one of Code the Dream's interns to really work together to help you understand your assignments and the concepts that you're learning that week. You are required to attend at least 2 mentor sessions per week. They're spaced throughout the week. We have a very large number of mentor sessions, which is great for this upcoming week. We will send out, I don't think it's been sent out yet, but I think it's ready now. So we'll send out tonight or tomorrow morning. We will be sending out the mentor session signups for this coming week. It's really important to think about what you want to have accomplished before you attend a mentor session. Of course, the mentor sessions at the beginning of the week, you're not going to have had very much time to go over the new material yet. And at the end of the week, you might be scrambling to finish your assignments. So it's important to think about how you want to pace your week. And how you want to, it is important to prepare. So even if it's at the beginning of the week, you might think about questions you can ask your mentors about the concepts, at least have reviewed the concepts that you're going through for that week so that you're prepared. One difference from previous classes is that we are scheduling 2 what we're calling catch-up mentor sessions each week. So basically this means most mentor sessions are going to specifically pertain to the material that's being covered that week, that week's lesson. However, there's going to be 2 sessions per week, which are not specific to that week's material. So if you are behind, you definitely want to attend the regular mentor session so you can try to get up to speed, but you can also attend a catch-up mentor session, which will enable you to ask questions without like slowing the rest of the group down. And I don't mean to say you should definitely ask questions no matter what, but it's important to have that, to be aware of those catch-up sessions. And that will be on the place where you sign up. I'm gonna go through that in a minute. Let's see. During the mentor session, yeah, you're reviewing concepts from that week. You're bringing any questions. You're getting assistance with any blockers. The mentors might do a programming demonstration. They might ask you to do a programming demonstration if you've, kind of mastered the concepts from that week, or do some pair programming. It's really a chance where you can interact with others and get your questions answered in person, or at least live. In terms of the community, this is a really important aspect because you guys are a community of this class. We definitely want you to post your questions. It's hard to admit when you don't know something, or you think, oh, maybe I missed it, or oh, probably everybody else knows this. Probably if you have the question, probably somebody else has it also. There are students in a previous class that actually set up their own Discord channel. And I think that might be happening again. And that's another place you can go to for community and for questions and to really just to join in that community. We also want to encourage you to answer other people's questions. If you see them and you think you know, go ahead and post. There's also a great opportunity to schedule extra study sessions with each other. Pick a time that works for each other. Maybe some of you who are on the same coast can pick a time and work through some of the material together. Again, you guys all in this class have a variety of levels and levels of experience. And so we really want to encourage you to help each other. And we will be scheduling some kind of whole class check-ins where we're all together on Zoom, and you can, that'll be optional, and you can just join in and get a chance to give some feedback and see how you're doing. And lastly, the final project is kind of the last aspect of the class. You don't really have to think about it too much until the second half of class, but with each lesson, you can start thinking about what are the practical applications of what you're learning. You will be actually creating your own app by the end, a web app by the end of class that runs on Ruby on Rails. There is a rubric on the website. I'll show you where it is. And you will have to make a proposal for what that project is going to be. You'll have the last 2 weeks of class to just do nothing but work on it without having additional lessons and materials. We'll still have mentor sessions where you can check in with mentors, but those will just be focused on working on your projects. And then you will present to the whole class. And then you will get a certificate at the end. I want to make one point about sort of how our classes are structured, and that's that you're not doing this for a grade. We are not grading you on every single assignment or, it's not about grades. I know some of us come from a more of an academic environment where you really want to get that grade, and that's really important. But I really want to encourage you to think deeper. It's more about your level of understanding. Everything that you do as part of this class can move you closer to a deeper understanding of programming. And really the ultimate goal is to get a job as a software developer where you're able to be doing, complex critical thinking about and apply that critical thinking to different spaces. So even if this class is Ruby on Rails, maybe you might get a job that's not in Ruby on Rails, maybe it's another language, but because of the skills that you have developed and that you know how to think like a programmer, that is going to help you in whatever language you're working in. So I really want to encourage you guys to think about not just, am I checking a box to get something done, but how are you really understanding it? Okay. The last, this is the last slide before we're gonna open it up for conversation. But I really want to go through kind of a little tour of some of the flow of the week. There are so many tools that we use in this class. I've listed a bunch of them here, but almost all of the tools you can access through two main ones: the class website, learn.codethedream.org, and Slack. Pretty much everything else is posted on one of these places. So these are the main places you need to go to. So I'm going to go through a few of the different tools to just help you think about the flow of the week. And I know that for those from the Katerina or for Sunrise classes, this is a bit of a repeat, but let's see. Okay, so at the beginning of the week, we might start off with, this is the website. Some of you may have already seen it, learn.codethedream. You guys are the Red Koi class. So I would just bookmark this page right here. Keep it front and center because you're going to come back to this all the time. This is where you'll find everything, okay? These are every single week. You can go here to see exactly what you're going to be doing. All of the material is here for the entire length of the class. Now, I mean, you can go ahead if you want, but again, the mentor sessions are going to be focused on the work of that week. So we want to encourage you to just really try and get as much of an understanding of each week as you can. So yeah, so I would go from, say it's week 1, I'm going to be clicking on here. This gives you a summary of what you're going to be working on. Here's the Treehouse videos. These are the 3 videos that you'll be, or the 3 Treehouse courses you'll be working through this week. When you click on it, you can see, so these are pretty long, okay? And we may go back and add in the length of time in there. But yeah, you can see, so this one section is a 172-minute database course. And there's little quizzes and little things like that in between if you haven't used Treehouse before. So you might just want to get an overview. Okay, what's my week going to look like? Okay, this is an 80-minute course. And there's one more. Okay, that's another long one. So there's, that's a pretty long class. our set of videos there. So you're going to need to go through all of those videos. And while you're going through the videos, when I'm not a developer. A lot of you know I'm not a software developer myself. I work on the administrative side, but I have taken Code the Dream classes. And when I've been in the classes, I usually have everything all set up. It takes me a while to get set up. I have my code editor, my terminal set up on one screen, and then I have a Google Doc where I take my notes on the other screen, and where I can highlight any questions I have to be ready for the mentor sessions. So this is going to be your first step, is to see what you've got and go through your videos. Then comes your assignment. Your assignment is here. It's in GitHub, and you'll see there's very explicit instructions for everything that you have to do, and we're going to go over that more tomorrow for those of you who aren't as familiar with how to do this. But this tells you exactly what to do in your assignment, and you'll be it's a coding assignment that will be building on what you have learned through the videos. On Mondays, you'll hear in the Slack channel, you'll get a notice that to sign up for your mentor session. And this is what that looks like. Unfortunately, we had to cancel the very first mentor session, which is on Wednesday this week, but that's fine. But all of this is where you'll put your name. You'll sign up to join the mentor session. And as you can see, there's lots and lots of options for all week. Let's see. Here in your Slack channel, which of course we encourage you to download the desktop version, but there is also a browser version. And this is where, you guys have already seen, we've got an announcements channel and a questions channel. If you have a question about something, you might go into the COI questions channel and put exactly like Grant did here, post a screenshot. John might answer, somebody else might answer. The other thing I wanted to show you about Slack is how to use Squibby, which is a Slack bot, which one of our instructors, Tom, built. There's a couple different ways to access Squibby, and all this don't worry, this is gonna be in the Slack. We'll remind you in Slack of how to do it. But basically, you can either click here in Slack on this little shortcut button, or you can type here, Squibby, and you want to do Ask Squibby. Let's see. Here we go. Here it is, Squibby. And you'll say, oh, you're a COI student, and you'll choose which assignment. And you guys are all Rails, so you'll choose Rails assignment 1. Here's where you're going to actually put your link to GitHub. Your pull request, and then say submitting lesson 1. And you can write, if you had a problem with it or not, or something's not working, and then you hit submit. And we'll go over some of this later, but I wanted to give you a little bit of a preview of that. So that's a little bit of your flow and the different tools that you'll be using. So really Slack and this website is going to be, you're going to be good friends. Please read through it. There's all kinds of resources here. You can see the final project rubric. You can even get a chance to take a look now to see what the final project rubric will be for this class. You can see the apprenticeship requirements. You can see student resources. This is a great place for all kinds of resources. This is everything I've gone through here, the Mask Off guide to each aspect of classes. These slides, they're right here. They're already on the website. Here's additional resources that previous mentors have shared. So these are great resources here. And in the future, when you start looking for a job, you can use our Job Seekers Toolkit. Okay, I have talked for a very, very long time. Let me stop sharing my screen. And let's open it up for questions and conversation. We can start by people just unmuting and asking a question. If it gets a little too chaotic, we'll go to either the chat or the hand raise function, but we can try this.
I have one question. For the Google account sheet to note the matter session, do we have, do I should have a Google account, or how do I take
Good
notes?
question.
Or?
I don't think you need a Google account. When we will put the link to the Google Sheets, we will put that in Slack, and you should just be able to click on it. I don't think you need any account, any Google account or anything. You can just click on it and type your name. Thanks. Other questions? I know that was a lot of information.
Hi, I have a question. Are you guys monitoring our note taking? Like, are you wanting us to use Google Sheets instead of our own note? Like, is it something that you guys actually want to see our notes, or?
No, not at all. I mean, the Google Sheets is only for the signing up for the mentor sessions. I use Google Docs when I was taking notes in the class. You should use whatever works for you, whatever works for you. We are not monitoring your note taking at all. We are monitoring. We can see where you are in Treehouse, how far along you are. We can see, obviously, when you've submitted an assignment. And we are monitoring who is showing up for mentor sessions. The mentors have to actually fill out a little report after each session to tell us who is there. So those are the things that we're monitoring. In terms of how you take notes, totally up to you, whatever works.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Yeah. Other questions? I wonder if some of the, oh, go ahead.
Sorry about that. Yeah, I would like to know so the mentor sessions will be like Q&A. If you have some questions, can we discuss there, or it's mainly like checking how the lessons went?
Yeah, that's a good question. So it's a couple different ways. It sort of depends on who's in the group. And what everyone has, where the people's progress is in the group. But you should come to the mentor session, hopefully with questions about the lessons. The mentors are all volunteers, but they know many of them will have done gone through the lesson too. Some of them just maybe use Ruby on Rails in their jobs, and so are just very familiar with it and with the concepts. So you can ask, you should come with whatever questions you have, but they know what is being covered each week. So they'll try to touch on those topics. They may start out with something, but they'll probably also ask you, okay, what have you done so far? How far have you gotten in the assignment? How far have you gotten in the videos? And you guys can have a conversation based on that. Does that make sense, or do you need more clarity?
Sure. Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah.
My question was regarding the mentor sessions as well, but I think you pretty much just covered it. So thank you for that.
I wonder if one of our current or one of the past Katarina students would be interested in sharing a little bit about what the mentor sessions were like.
Well, hello. I joined and entered at the right point in time because my cell phone died and didn't have internet. The mentor sessions are pretty awesome. You get to and it honestly matters on what you get out of it is what you put in. So there was sometimes where you would be with a bunch of people and then no one would talk, and then you would basically take up all the time. And then there'd be some times where everyone would talk and then you don't get as much time. So I encourage everybody to be able to talk as much as possible, because the mentors can't help you unless you say something. They're not mind readers. Some of the mentors would always say, well, maybe you're asking questions that someone else didn't want to ask, but are giving the same answers. And I'm just like, nah, if you want that answer, go out and ask for that answer, because maybe it's something similar, but you want something more specific. So a lot of the mentors have been really awesome. I don't know if we'll have the same mentors, but I mean, it just seems like Code the Dream has found people who are really out there willing to help you. And I have messaged a bunch of people on Slack tons of times asking for things as well outside of the mentor session. So, just be ready to have stuff prepared or questions prepared. Just don't, no matter what, just don't do nothing. Do something when you're in these sessions, because these sessions are one of the best things that Code the Dream has for us.
And Grant, you will be having different mentors this time, because we've got a whole new slate of folks that are all specific to Ruby on Rails, some of whom are on this call. I see Robert Jacobson is on. Some of you have already sort of met John McGarvey, who is one of our resident Ruby on Rails experts. Yeah, Rob or John, I don't know if you all want to say anything.
I'm really delighted to be here. This is my first experience with Code the Dream. I had a very, very different educational background. I first tried to learn computer programming more or less on my own using online resources. And I found it really hard to get through a long video class. I'd usually get really excited about learning JavaScript or whatever. And then halfway through, my enthusiasm would just peter out. So I think that this format is wonderful, because it's a lot like being in a real classroom. I mean, obviously there are differences, but we're all going to be helping each other out. We want everybody to succeed, and we want everybody to graduate this class and go out there and get an awesome job. So I'm really looking forward to working with you, and please feel free to join my mentor sessions if you want. Thanks.
Thank you so much. We've got a couple of Code the Dream apprentices and staff who are also serving as mentors, including Cruz Nunez. Cruz was in the very first class Code the Dream ever held, like years ago, and now he is on full-time staff with us and is one of our Ruby on Rails experts as well. So. And John is really fabulous and has really put together our entire curriculum, and is always just really a wonderful resource for all of our students.
Excuse me, I have another question, please, about the after assignments. When we put our work and I don't know if there is any review after or solution discussion sessions to talk about different alternatives or solution for after the assignment. We did our work and we submitted, and after that I think to have some feedbacks and review that. If the real is where the schedule, when?
Yes,
Thanks.
that is an excellent question, and I do not have an excellent answer. I have a so-so answer. I think the mentor sessions are going to be the place where you can compare answers. So maybe for you, maybe you really want to have your assignments done before your mentor session, so that you can talk about it then and see what your mentor says about, oh, I might have done it this other way. But it moves very quickly, the pace. So, from 1 week, you'll start on Wednesday, and then the next Wednesday is you're on to the next topic. So it moves very quickly. I do think you can there are spaces to have those conversations, and your assignments will be reviewed by Code the Dream apprentices. Will be reviewing your assignments. And so you could talk to them about it, and they will be giving you feedback. But there's not a space in the week just dedicated to that. John, I don't know if you're on. I don't know if you have any comment on that.
Well, I think that the mentors will talk to you about different ways of solving the problem and kind of model a solution for you. When you submit your assignments, the reviewers will also comment, and they'll say, you know, this is good, or you could have done it this way. They'll try to promote best practices. But as we all know, there are usually multiple solutions to a given problem, and they'll talk about those. So we try to cover it at both ends, both during the mentor sessions and in the review of the assignments.
Other questions or comments or thoughts?
One quick question about, since we're on the subject of the mentor sessions, we have to sign up like when the week starts on at least two sessions, right? And
Yes.
what if you want to like show up to another one? Do you have to know ahead of time to sign up, or can you just drop in?
That's a good question. The most important thing is that the mentor sessions don't get too overcrowded. So if there is space, go to as many as you want. But you know, the mentor sessions are going to be more effective with smaller numbers. So we will also try to monitor a little bit, like if it looks like a lot of people are going to, you know, Friday, 5 o'clock Eastern time, we might ask the mentors, can you shift, and we'll make more mentor sessions available at that time, because we don't want it's too hard for the mentors, and it's not good for the students when there's, you know, 8, 10 students in one session. It's better when there's maybe 4 or 5 students. So it's a little bit of a, you know, we all have to sort of help each other and look, you know, definitely get in your 2 sessions, and then sign up for as many more as you want, as long as it's not too many people. And I do think it's good for you to sign up in advance, because most of the mentors like to know in advance how many people are going to be there. So it's good to just at least write your name down, even if it's, you know, a few hours before or the same day, so that the mentors can look and see who is going to be in their session. Does that make sense, Javier?
Sounds good to me. Makes sense.
Great.
And one last thing, and as far as the mentor sessions for this week, we're doing the videos on GitHub, and do we go through it through Slack, or you'll send the link out so that we can sign up?
I think I already sent the link out, but I'll send it out again tomorrow. And John is going to be leading that session on Zoom. And that's really for before the class starts. I mean, we're a little late here, as you can see. But by Wednesday, you should be starting your material. And you can go ahead and sign up for mentor. There's one mentor session that is open on Wednesday. You can go ahead and sign up, even if you haven't, you know, done things yet. I think early on, all the mentors are going to know. No one's done much yet, but you know, try and look at what the concepts are that are being covered, and bring some questions and hear what the mentor has to say.
Yeah, if I can just add to that. One of the most important things that you should be working on now is getting your machine set up. This is fairly different, fairly easy for Mac, or if you have a native Windows machine, it's fairly easy. We provide videos for that. We do provide some corrections to the videos to get it exactly right. You should definitely get your machine set up as quickly as possible, because we find that people stumble on this. And the reason that they stumble varies with their current machine installation, depending on what they have set up. If you are using Windows and you don't have access to native Linux, then it's necessary to run Linux under Windows. And we set up what's called a Vagrant box for that. But that takes time, and it's a little complicated. So you just need, if the box you have is Windows, you should start on that right away. One other comment I will make about the Treehouse videos: when you're doing SQL or Ruby, they have workspaces that you can actually run your code in. But when you get to Rails, the Treehouse no longer doesn't have workspaces that run Rails. It's kind of complicated to run Rails. So in that case, you really have to have your machine set up. And as the instructor goes through the different steps of the video, you have to duplicate what this instructor is doing. Otherwise, it won't stick. So that's another reason to have your machine set up early. Is it's really critical in the Rails part of the curriculum.
If I could jump in, first of all, to follow up on what John said, there is another option. If you have a Windows box and you have a large hard drive, you can do what's called a dual boot installation of Linux, where you get native Linux on one half of your hard drive and you keep Windows on the other half of your hard drive. And then at startup, it asks you, do you want to boot into Linux or do you want to boot into Windows? So be careful if you do that, because that's kind of a major operation. It ends up shrinking the size of your Windows, making space for Ubuntu or whatever Linux distribution you're using. It's kind of a fun way to do it. That way you don't have to go through a virtual box type of setup. So something to consider. Also, to jump back to the questions about Slack, speaking for me personally, and hopefully for my other mentors, we really, really want to help you. That's what we signed up to do. We want to see you succeed. We want to answer your questions. We want to help you get unstuck when you get stuck. So I personally happen to be on Slack pretty much whenever I'm awake. And I tend to stay up quite late. So don't be surprised if you see a Slack message from me after midnight. And if you have a question, reach out to me, post it on Slack, and I will try to get back to you. And you can either private message me or you can post it on the board, and I'll try to be as quick and responsive as I can. I would really like to reach out to all of you and help you to the most extent possible. So thanks.
Awesome, thanks. Just in terms of people's machines, maybe I'll just do a quick poll right now. I'll ask 2 questions. One is if you think that your machine is pretty much ready for the Rails development environment, and or if you've run Rails before. And then the second question will be if you are not, if you know that your machine is not ready, or you're not sure. So maybe I'll just do the first one. Who thinks that knows that their machine is ready to go or feels pretty confident about what they've got? Maybe just maybe either a thumbs up or a wave or something. I have to go through 2 screens here, so if you could just keep it up for a minute. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4.
So talking about the machine ready, does that mean when you see that, yay, welcome to Ruby, then that means your machine is ready? That page, follow that instruction.
I am gonna have to let John or Rob answer that question.
Yeah, if you got the hooray, you're on Rails. If you got to that screen, you're ready to go.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Peter, that's it. Okay, I thought you were at thumbs up. Now you're at thumbs down. Okay, so who now? Okay, thank you all. Who is not sure or thinks that they're not ready for the Rails development environment?
Look, I have a very small C drive, and I can't be deleting things constantly. It just drives me insane. I need to figure out how to just dump this thing onto one of my other hard drives so I can do it. I can put, I've run virtual boxes before, but this Vagrant thing I've never done, so I need help. John Godfrey told me at one point, just empty my C drive of stuff, but I'm just tired of emptying my C drive.
Well, just the problem with the Vagrant box is Vagrant uses VirtualBox, and both Vagrant and VirtualBox store stuff on the C drive. You can change the configuration of, and you'd have to change it for both Vagrant and VirtualBox, where their virtual machine information is stored on one of your other drives. For VirtualBox, it's a setting, and I described that setting in my note to you, Grant. For Vagrant, it's an environment variable. And so you would go into Windows settings and set that environment variable so that when you start your machine, it comes up with that environment variable, pointing Vagrant to one of your other drives. So it's possible to do it with a C drive that's small. If you have another drive that's large. Another choice is if you have a big another drive, I think you can set up a dual boot environment. So
yeah, I'll just do that. I'll just allocate some memory from one of my other drives and call it a day. That might just be easier.
Yeah, so those are the choices.
There's one other choice too. You can run Ubuntu or other Linux distributions right off of a thumb drive if you want to. It's probably not going to work as fast as running it off a native hard drive, but if you have a spare like 32 or 64 gigabyte thumb drive sitting around, you can just plug that into your USB port, and then that becomes your Linux hard drive.
Okay, so basically that Code the Dream thing is a specific OS that we need to use to create this new, that Code the Dream thing is basically an OS, right?
The Vagrant is a little cut down version of Linux. Yes. It's a version that's made small, and it already has Ruby and Rails and the other and Git and those other tools that you need installed on it.
Oh, so.
But if you set up a dual boot environment of some kind, you can boot Linux, but then you have to follow the instructions in the Code the Dream video that does, I'm sorry, the Treehouse video that describes how you set up Linux. So either is valid. We've had people do both and then succeed with both.
All right, so basically my step one is getting Ubuntu and dual booting it, and then following the Team Treehouse videos to get everything else set up. Got it.
Yes.
Cool. Yeah. That's what I'm doing. That's the plan.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
So it sounds like I'm thinking, so tomorrow is another session that's going to be explicitly focused on machine setup and submitting via GitHub. If you're comfortable with both of those things, you absolutely do not need to attend. It's completely optional. But what it sounds like is if you have not already checked out that link to the machine setup page, which again, you can find also at learn.codethedream.org, and go to the COI class, and it's right up there in pre-class machine setup. Go through, read through that, and try to figure out what it is you need before the session tomorrow evening. Does that sound right, John?
Yes.
Great, yeah, and then you could also post something in the Slack message or in the Slack questions, and we'll have people looking for that if you have a specific issue, because we want to make sure that you can get your machine set up.
I think Grant had a question.
Yeah, Grant is asking how much
So you're
space
raising your
to
hand.
allocate for the, I think this is for the dual boot environment. And it would be good if you could allocate something like 32G. I think you can get by in 24G or something like that, but you don't want to find that you're running out in your dual boot environment. That would be messy. Yeah, if you can allocate 100G for your dual boot environment, you'll be set.
Great. Okay. Are there, let's see. Are there any other questions before we move on?
I have a question.
Sure, go ahead.
So for the treehouse, I know that there's tests in there. Do we have to take all the tests, or like finish the tests in there?
Well, the funny thing about the treehouse test is that you can't move on until you get through the little quizzes. So you have to, but not because Code the Dream requires it, but because you won't be able to go on to the next video if you can't get past the little quiz. And sometimes there's just some little thing, like I remember I used to have some little thing, it's like, I know I'm doing this right. It keeps giving me an error every single time. And you can just post in the Slack channel or something like that, and somebody may be able to help. But does that make sense? That it's just sort of one of the quiz things are just sort of part of their system.
Okay. And also, is there a like class assessment or anything like that?
So your overall class assessment is going to be your final project. That's going to be how we assess what you've learned. You don't have to start thinking about that yet. You can if you want. The rubric is already there on learn.codethedream.org, but that comes at the end. And about halfway through the class is when you'll start thinking about, what you might want to do.
Thank you.
So in terms of next steps, has everybody gotten their treehouse invite? If you have not, please let me or Lydia or Alex know as soon as possible. And please check your spam also, because all of you should have been invited to Treehouse. Okay. Let's see, Lydia, can you make a note of the people who have not? Okay.
Leilani, I think you were in previous class, so you should already be in this in the treehouse. So it's the same account.
So I migrated over to like a different account. Is it possible to get re-invited, or do I just use the old invite?
Just you can use the old invite, I believe, because all I did was reactivated your account, so it should be the same.
If it doesn't work, Leilani, just let us know and we can deactivate that account and send you a new invite.
Okay, I'll try it now. Thank you.
If you can access it, just send me a Slack and I can look into it.
Alex is A-Rod on Slack. Anyone else having trouble with Treehouse?
I'm in. I got the message and went and set up my account, but like I don't see some of the different pages that were referenced before. Like I don't, unless maybe I just need to familiarize myself with it a little bit more. This is my first time in there, so I Probably
Sure,
gotta,
and also, I don't know if you were in there today, but today something might look a little bit different because you should have all been assigned now to a track, which was not the case before today. So you should be assigned to a Ruby on Rails track.
Also, if you go on the website, you can just click on the link and it directs you straight to the page that you need.
Yeah, if you go to the learn.codethedream website, yeah, it's true. You can just go directly from there. Yeah, for each of the individual videos. Yeah.
Also, once you start, it will just make you keep going to the next one.
Definitely check in every day or, every time, every week. Make sure the website is your key. That's where everything is. So make sure that's how you know you're doing the right thing. But yeah. Let's see, has everyone had any trouble with Slack? Is everyone on Slack? Okay, great. If not, let us know. I can only see one screen of people here, so, okay. GitHub, does everybody already have a GitHub account? Okay, yeah, you all should, I believe you already have GitHub account. Okay, yeah, and I think, and of course, check out the class website. That's going to be your friend, learn.codethedream.org. And then, just bear with us. This class is a constant, it's in constant development, and we're always experimenting with new things and trying to improve things, and we're learning as we go and iterating on the process. We work with a lot of volunteers, almost entirely volunteers, in fact, except for a few staff people. So this is a real volunteer run effort. Yeah, so I want us to spend, I know we're almost at time, but I really wanted us to get into breakout groups one more time so that you can really think about, hang on, let me share my screen again.
I have one question real quick.
Okay, go ahead.
So the calendar says on section 14, the final project is on June 16th. And the week before is June 9th. So we're gonna have just 1 week? Or?
Here, let me see that. Hang on 1 second. Let's see. Let's see, you're actually presenting your final project on week 16. So you actually will have, after week 13, that is your last lesson. And then you have 3 weeks, I believe, and before you present your final projects. We didn't put the presentations on here, but that'll be in week 16. Good question. Very important question. So yeah, in terms of being successful in our classes, make your plan for each week. And that's what I want you guys to talk about in a minute. Reserve the time. And it might be that at the beginning, it may not require quite as much time, or it might require a little more time because you're getting used to everything. But in your head, you can also go through this little checklist, this mask off checklist to make sure you've done it, the materials, assignments, mentor sessions, community, and final project. Look at what you have to do every week for those things. Be willing to ask questions, be willing to help others. And it does get harder. Once you get to Rails, that it gets harder. So plan for that. Don't, as you're thinking about the next 4 months, plan for that. I'm going to send this, you'll have it later, in terms of advice from past students. I'm not going to go through it now, but I think the biggest thing is to make time and ask for help. So I want us to go back into breakout sessions and, just sort of take maybe in breakout sessions, Lydia, of maybe 3 people and and think through, like, I know it's been a lot of information. Start to process what you've heard. How are you feeling about it? What's your reaction to it? What other questions do you have? And then you can start to think with each other through, like, what is going to be your plan? When are you going to watch the videos? Where is you going to do the work? Which days and times are going to work for you? How are you going to take notes? When are you going to start the assignment? All these things. It's a lot, but it's good to start thinking about how you are going to fit it into your own schedule. So let's take a few minutes. If Lydia can arrange the breakout groups. Let's see. Yeah, spend just a few minutes, each of you getting a chance to share, and then we'll come back together. And if there's additional questions, we'll have those, and then we'll have a few final words. Okay.
Hello? Oh, I was wondering why. Okay, it only showed my face and Lori's, and I was like, oh, am I just in here with Lori? I was really confused for a second. Never mind.
We can talk and hang out, Grant, if you want. Oh.
He's showing a room.
I'm going to pause the recording, or maybe you should. I don't know how that works. Okay, wonderful. Thank you, Karen. Any other questions or thoughts? Great. All right. I know it's been a lot of information. Hopefully you all know where to find all the slides that I shared, this slide deck, as well as where to find all of us in Slack and through the COI channels, as well as individual messaging. Yep, we're around. So we're really excited for you guys to be on this journey. And like Rob said, we're really want you guys to succeed and really want the absolute best for you. So reach out to each other and to us, and we'll do what we can. If ever, as in a parting gesture, I like to have people, maybe people can just write in the chat. If you just write like one word or phrase that you're carrying away from today, you just want to share that, and then we can all be on our way.
Everybody have good weeks. Goodbye.
Bye-bye. Take care, everybody.
Goodbye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Goodbye.
And I'll stick around for a few minutes in case anyone has additional questions. Oh, Peter's got a small person. Yay.
I have a question. So it's gonna be continuous, or are we gonna have a break in the middle of?
No, there's not a break in the middle of this one.
Okay.
It's going to be continuous.
Good.
Hi, Lori.
It's ready. A long 4 months.
Hi. I also have a questions regarding the treehouse. Are we supposed to be on a track? How do you say that? On the
track?
tracks? Yeah, on the track. Sorry.
You should have been assigned to the Ruby on Rails track. But even if you aren't, you can, as long as you're following the website, the learn.codethedream website, you can get to each of the videos. But yeah, if you follow the track, that's helpful. Or if you're on the track, and if you have trouble with that, we can check and make sure you're assigned to the track.
Yeah, okay. I'm gonna follow the web, but here it says that I'm with Sunrise organization along with Hermes and
Oh, okay.
and Serhi. So yeah,
Okay.
I can see the KOI organization, but I'm just not in.
I see.
Okay. Lori, they get assigned to a department that is called KOI, but not an actual track.
I assigned, really? Maybe
Yeah,
I just went wrong.
I think the same happened for me because when I go to track, there's just it's wide open. I mean, I see
Yeah.
like
All right. Yeah, we'll fix that. We'll fix that for you
Okay,
guys.
that was my fault. Sorry. Yeah, Alex, maybe you can help me. I thought that I assigned everyone in the department to one track. Like, maybe I didn't.
Okay. Yeah, we can look at it after this if you want.
Question.
Sure, go ahead.
Yeah, are we gonna get a copy of this recording?
Yeah, we can do that. Yeah,
Okay. Thank you.
sure.
I have one other question. So I'm looking at the first lesson in the curriculum, and I noticed that there's two different like for 1.1, you can select SQL and you can select basics. So it's like two individual links. That's not intuitive. Like I would have skipped right over basics. So I kind of found it by luck. Maybe I'll post a message on the group so that.
Oh, I see. I thought they were the same.
It's two different lessons. So yeah, that's
Okay.
definitely.
So
I just caught that and
yeah,
figured out.
we'll make that more clear in the thing. John, are you on here, John?
Yes, I am. So what's I'm confused here.
Are you on the page on the web page, the Learn.Code the Dream web page?
I can be, one moment. So I go to section 1, so SQL basics, and then there's 3 links: SQL basics, modifying data with SQL, and reporting with SQL. Now,
Yeah, but what Peter is saying is that in 1.1, there's actually 2 different links. SQL goes one place and basics goes to another place.
Okay. Okay, yes. I'll fix that. The SQL takes you to 1.2, which is not what you want. It takes you to the same place as under 1.2. Just click on the basics word.
I can fix it if you want, John. I'm right there. I'm right in there. with
Okay,
the-
yeah, if you can fix it, that'd be good.
Okay, sure.
It's I don't know how I did that. Thank
Yeah,
you for
good
calling our
catch.
attention to it. That's called a bug. we want to stomp those out.
You mean even professional developers make bugs? Amazing.
We make more.
More complex bugs. All right, Peter, refresh your page and see how that looks and see if it's fixed.
Yep.
Bye, Dejan. Thank you. Say hello to Martina.
Very well. Thanks. Bye, everyone.
Yeah, it's just one link now, and it takes you right to the basics. Yep.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
All right, thanks for noticing that.
No problem. Yeah, I'm trying to get my environment set up and get started as early as possible. Got some advice from is it Robert? Forgive me. The names, it takes a little while. Our other mentor, not John.
Yeah, Robert. Yeah. He's new for us too, but yeah.
But just, I mean, it's solid advice. Like I'm just gonna try to get started and start the learning as early as possible so that later on, if unforeseen things happen, I don't get behind. So yeah, that's I know how important it can be in this just kind of learning something new and making sure you're staying on top of it. So
Yeah,
but
great.
thank you guys for fixing that. 3 hours worth of videos for the first one is a lot. So I'm gonna get started as soon as possible.
It is a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah, on that, I put a note in, the reporting section is very long. It's not really critical to finish the reporting section. But the first part of that reporting section is important.
Okay. No, the plan is to try to tackle it all. So, but we'll keep that in mind because plans change. So, but thanks. I'm gonna get out of here and go spend some time with this guy.
Sounds good.
Thank
Thanks
you,
a lot,
guys.
Peter. See you soon.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
All right.